Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show, where we explore ways to get healthy, wealthy, and wise. With a combination of guest interviews and solo episodes, I hope you will be inspired and motivated to become the best of whatever you are. I'm Elle Russ, #1 best-selling author and subject expert with over a decade of helping thousands of people across the globe. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about free guides, masterclasses, online courses, and more. Enjoy the show. All right. Popular topic worth revisiting a million times a year, probably, which is breaking free from scarcity, the scarcity mindset. And that just sounds so broad and elusive. So I want to break it all down today, how to shift that to abundance. I've been there too. I've been in serious scarcity mindset. I have a hand disability. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do 30 years ago. I was like, what is my life going to be like? Talk about scarcity. I was like, how am I going to survive? Here's a small tipper offer. I used to hoard clothes and didn't wear them. Not hoarding like I had a bunch of crap in my house. Not that. More like, no, I'm saving that. No, that's too nice to wear around the house, right? Like, no. And then it would be 7 freaking years. Literally, I had clothes that I just kept new. I never wore. It was a pair of shorts. It was whatever it was that I considered nice. It was like never worn. It was like being saved, and it may be worn like once every 2 years. But there were some where I didn't wear them for like 7, 8 years. That's a scarcity mindset. It's also a self-worth thing. Why are you waiting that those are for you? You wear them, right? This scarcity. I also want to highlight that a scarcity mindset can actually cause conflicting behaviors. It just depends on the person's fears. So here's an example. A scarcity mindset could have someone saying no to opportunities out of fear. And this happens when someone's, afraid to take a chance. They think they might fail or lose what little they have. They might fear rejection. Someone might say no to investing in something or pursuing a job opportunity because they just either fear losing money if they invest or believe they won't find anything better with the job if that doesn't work out. So you can say no to opportunities out of a fear of failure, loss, etc. Or that just general downer of, well, I'm not going to find anything better. And then there's the opposite of that, where someone could say yes to opportunities out of the fear of missing out. That's the flip side. Scarcity can also cause people to overcommit because they fear there's not going to be any more opportunities. So someone might be accepting every freelance gig, even if they're low-paying, draining ones, because they're afraid that future work won't come along, that type of vibe. So that's a scenario where, depending on the person's fears, you'd be saying no or over-yesing, depending on your fears. And again, rooted in scarcity. Perhaps you've worried endlessly about money, even when you're doing okay. It's this persistent feeling like there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough success or resources to go around. And I'm here to tell you it's exhausting because scarcity is just a mindset. It's this lens, this kind of wonky filter that colors everything in your life. But the kick-ass news is that you can flip that shit around. You can shift from scarcity to abundance. You can completely change the way you think. You can completely change the way you act and how you show up in the world. And so I think if we're going to get into it, it's that the whole thing is rooted in the belief that there's just a limited amount of everything, right? If someone else wins, I lose. It's like walking through life and you're clutching tightly, like your fists. You're sort of afraid to let go because you just think there's no way you're going to get more. It stems from insecurity, low self-worth, or, look, it just could be past experiences where resources were really scarce. That's evolutionary psychology. Scarcity is tied to survival. For our ancestors, resources like food and shelter were extremely limited. Hoarding and competing made sense. Totally made sense. But here's the thing. Most of us are no longer living in survival mode. If you're listening to this, you are likely not in survival mode and living in the jungle in a third world country because you wouldn't have Wi-Fi. Our brains haven't fully caught up with that yet. We are identical in DNA to our hunter-gatherer ancestors 60,000 years ago, 120,000 years ago. Yes, humans live that long. We're communicating like normal people. Maybe not our extensive vocabulary. A lot of people don't know that, by the way. Been around for a very long time. We've been evolving for 2.5 million years total. All right. But sometimes our brains have not fully caught up. We still have this instinctual built-in DNA thing. It can sneak in. So it sneaks in even when it's not really serving us anymore because we are not in survival mode. We don't have these selection pressures that our hunter-gatherer ancestors had. They're not alive anymore. Here are a bunch of the sneaky ways. Okay, money's obviously money shows up for a lot of people. The scarcity with money. You hesitate to spend money on things that matter, like even when you can afford them. So the thought could be, well, what if I need this money later? So that could be holding off on investing in anything, a therapist, a coach, a course, an education. It doesn't really matter, but it could hold off because you could hold off on something that can improve your life because you're just afraid of wasting money, even if the value could be tenfold. So hesitating on spending money on things that matter, even when you can afford them. Relationships. Scarcity shows up as jealousy or fear of losing someone. So you might cling to something, a relationship that's not healthy, friendship or romantic, because you're afraid. You're afraid you're not going to find another friend. You're afraid you're not going to find someone better than what you have. And then what if you find nothing? Isn't what you have better than nothing? That's a scarcity mindset. Or if you feel threatened, like when a friend spends time with someone else, like what if they don't need me anymore? If you're having those thoughts, that's a scarcity mindset. I already mentioned sort of scarcity on opportunities, saying yes to everything, even things you don't want to do because you're afraid you won't get another chance, or the opposite, saying no because you're afraid of failure. Self-worth. Yeah, self-worth. So scarcity can show up in how you actually view yourself. If you are comparing your accomplishments to others and feel like there's just not enough success to go around, it's like if someone else is shining, you feel dimmed. If you're getting that, then that's scarcity because it's like, oh no, but wait, now I have to fail. Like you don't have to fail just because someone else is succeeding. It's got energy scarcity, man. Here's the fuckery. It's just a mindset. It's literally just an energy. So when you approach life from a place of scarcity, you're sending out signals. You're sending out that vibe of fear, of doubt, of lack. And look, the ether beyond, whatever you believe in, God, aliens, etc., or even just the people around you, everyone's picking up on it. Talked a bit about that in the Shift the Room episode I did. You know, have you ever noticed that like when you're desperate for stuff, you sort of repel the thing you actually want? That's scarcity energy. It's the clingy vibe that makes you hold on too tight, whether it's to money, relationships, opportunities. So how do you relax that and shift it? The opposite of scarcity is abundance, period. The opposite of scarcity is abundance. That's the 180. Abundance, the belief that there's enough to go around. There's enough time, money, love, success. It's all available to you. And so here's how you can shift it. Obviously, first step is awareness. You got to recognize the scarcity stories happening. What kind of tales are you telling? Is it, I'll never make enough money? You know, there's no way I'm going to meet someone who really loves me and accepts me. Right? Anytime you recognize one of these defeating patterns, you challenge it. Is this really true? Come on. Most of the time it's not. It's usually a fear-based narrative you've just carried for too long and you're used to it. It's a nice crutch you can lean on, but it's destructive. Obviously, and you know this, and everyone talks about it, but practice gratitude. It's a superpower for shifting energy and uplifting and getting out of scarcity mindset because when you focus on what you already have, you stop fixating on the lack. So if you take 2 minutes every day to list 3 things and feel it, feel the gratitude of those 3 things, you know, don't just write them down, right? That simple practice, that'll just rewire your brain, at least starts the day off right to make you aware to maybe shift when throughout the day you get off track. So obviously scarcity and getting out of it, think of it this way. It's shifting from I can't to how can I? So scarcity is like, I can't afford that, or I don't have time, or I'm never going to be able to, or an abundance would ask, how can I make this happen? How could this be possible? What if you want to take a vacation, but you think you can't afford it? You're brainstorming creative ways to save or cut back, all of that. But when you ask the better questions, your brain starts to find better answers and actually starts to bring in more things. You're empowering an intention with positive, good vibes. You're empowering that intention of that vacation with that it can happen. You're actually suspending your disbelief and believing it's possible. And when you do that, the brain goes in good directions. I gotta say, one of the most important things, and it's tough. It's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. What I'm about to say here, I know what I'm about to say is tough because I understand it, but I also am on the opposite side of it, and I could tell you it's the better way to live. You have to celebrate others' wins. You have to celebrate others people's confidence. You have to start to shift your downer. Good luck with that. Well, they'll never amount to. You have to start to shift that. It does. Look, if someone betrays you tomorrow, I'm not saying like start thinking positive thoughts about them. You're going to need some time to grieve and bitch it out and vent and yell and scream, all that stuff. I'm just talking about everyday normal stuff in life. You have that thought where you're like, I don't know if that's going to work out for them. Shut your ass up. Call yourself on that shit. What are you doing? You're being a downer. This goes right back to my book, Confident as Fuck. Stop being a downer. Don't be a downer. Don't hang out with downers. Okay. But sometimes we're downer on other people in our heads. That's why I'm down with OPC, other people's confidence. We got to celebrate other people's wins. I don't care if it's a friend landing a dream job or someone you know reaching a milestone. Their success does not take away from yours. It doesn't. Look at it. It doesn't, even if they do the exact same thing you do. Like, even if they're like out in front of like the thyroid writer, whatever. I'd be thrilled for them. So, scarcity makes you jealous of other people's success. But abundance says if they can do it, so can I. Start celebrating others' wins. All right. You also have to invest in yourself. This is huge. Scarcity says, I can't spend money or time on myself. And if you don't have money, maybe it's time. But if you have both, you might want to throw both down. People think it's selfish, it's risky. Abundance knows investing in your growth pays off. I don't care if you're investing time to read a book to help you with your mindset. Maybe you're investing in an education to reach a milestone or go further in your career because you know getting a master's in business is the only way certain corporations will give you a certain salary, like whatever the thing is. Investing in your growth, investing in yourself. Doesn't matter if it's a new skill. Doesn't matter if it's hiring a coach, taking a cooking class. You're signaling to yourself and the rest of the world, essentially, out there, the vibe is I'm worth it. I believe in my potential. Let go to make space. Scarcity can keep us holding on to things, right? I mentioned that before. Jobs, relationships, staying in certain situations, even physical clutter, because we're just afraid we won't find something better. But abundance sort of requires space. If your closet is full of shit that you never wear, then how are you vibrationally sort of welcoming something new in or that potential? If you're holding on to a toxic friendship or relationship, how can the right ones show up? You gotta let go to create room for the better stuff. That's just, I know you've heard it before, but it has to be said. So, let's say you're afraid to leave your current job. Maybe it's draining you, but you're worried you won't find another. That's scarcity. So what's shifting to abundance on that one? Well, you know what? The energy of updating a resume. That's just possibility right there. You don't even have to send it out. Just the effort and the action and the intention towards updating and making your resume look good. Okay? So obviously other shifts in that would be maybe you network, maybe you call a couple people in an industry you know that you've wanted to get into. Maybe you just need to remind yourself of your skills and your value. That's just a mindset thing. That's free. Even if it takes time, you trust that the right opportunity will come. And so here's the amazing part of that kind of shift is the energy you bring to interviews or networking or whatever it is, you're coming from confidence instead of fear. This is why I'm always just harping on confidence being the baseline, right? You need it for everything, to be a health advocate, to step up and get your raise that you want. And people notice that, feel that energy. The science of abundance, there's actually research in positive psychology that shows people who adopt this mindset, adopt an abundance, opposite of scarcity, are more likely to succeed. Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? They're less afraid of failure, more willing to take risks. They see opportunities where other people see obstacles. This is just textbook confidence and self-esteem. It's not magic, it's mindset. This is all, oh man, what the woes of our mind, what we do to ourselves. So, in closing up here, scarcity mindset's a trap, but it's not permanent. Okay. And the thing is, you've got to break free. So you've got to break free by shifting your focus, changing your energy, got to rewrite some stories that you're telling yourself about yourself. And remember, abundance isn't just about having more stuff. It's about feeling like you already have enough. There's the gratitude and trusting that more is on the way. When I have confidence interviews and I talk about confidence, and I obviously wrote a book on it, but one of the things really is, if I could just kind of throw out two things about confidence. Main point being that confidence is really the sum of your actions, the actions you take and the thoughts you think. All right. So confidence truly is the sum of the thoughts you think, the actions you take. Both of those things you can change. You can change your actions. You can change your thoughts. It's a it's a belief that you'll prevail. It's adopting and fostering and cultivating the inner belief that you will prevail in life or at some specific endeavor. So those are sort of the two main points. Obviously, there's 100,000 things to say about confidence. My second book, Confident as Fuck, could have been a lot longer than it is. That's why my confidence course is 14 hours, because this is spanning everything. So scarcity is a trap. Only you can break free from it, because you might be like, well, Elle, if I got more money, I wouldn't be in scarcity mindset. You're wrong. You're wrong. Let me tell a story I've told a few times about someone's father who is worth over $100 million. Not only that, this father's brother just died and left about another 50 million in property all over Los Angeles. And you think, wow, this guy must have had a great life. No, he came here poor as shit. Scarcity mindset from another country. They were so poor that his sister died because they couldn't afford a taxi to the emergency room. And since that day, this motherfucker eats 3-day-old avocados. He's a hoarder, never took care of his $3 million home, left it to go to shit, even though the whole neighborhood was beautiful, works his ass off, has never taken a vacation in his fucking life, barely has any friends, and has literally, it's so sad to see, because it seems like such a wasted life. All you, me, and everyone out there be like, well, I'll take $100 million. I'll take $100 million. I definitely don't have $100 million, right? I'll take it. And you think about all the things you could do with that? No, nothing. Just a shitty ass life. Never have a girlfriend here and there, and just buy him a couple purses. Never go on vacations. The only nice thing he ever did for himself was buy a nice car, but that's only because it's the way that then he shows up and is an appearance. Not only that, scarcity mindset as a hirer, as companies. He'll hire people because it's super cheap, but then he'll get people that embezzle from him. It's like, what's the cost benefit analysis of this? And this is a guy worth $100 million, dudes. I'm telling you, just a multitude of commercial real estate, a multitude of things that y'all wish. And you look at these people, and that's where money doesn't get you out of it. And you might think it would, but it won't. And that's why you got to change it. So especially if you're on the up and up and you're in a mode right now where you're making more money and you're on a good positive trajectory trend, first of all, fuck yeah, keep going, right on for you. But if you are, check yourself too, because success doesn't mean the scarcity mindset goes. It sometimes makes it worse. Now, I gave you a very extreme real life example, but they happen. So that's not going to break you free. Scarcity is a mindset trap, but you can get out of it, but only you. Something external doesn't actually do it. Getting $100 million won't do it. That's why people who win the lottery, the majority of them end up broke. They never change that mindset. whatever it was, I feel guilty about having this. I'm going to give it all away. It's rooted in scarcity. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling into that, there's not enough. Oh no, they took my spot. Competing, jealousy. Just take a second, breathe, and remind yourself this is a choice. When you choose abundance, you're just changing your mindset. You're changing your mindset, but just know that when you're changing your mindset on this, you are changing your life actively. You've got this, and there's more than enough success, joy, love, and opportunity out there for you, for me, for all of us. So let's start 2025 off with some abundance mindsets, and let's sort of work out of this scarcity. All right. I will see you next week.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this show, I would so appreciate you leaving a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And to learn more about partner discounts on amazing products, visit elleruss.com/discounts.